This is David White from Sportsman's Emporium, and I want to talk a little bit about some basic trapping supplies. This is the time of year, being mid to late January and all the way through February is trapping season. And it's gaining a little more popularity in these last couple years. I think a lot of people are seeing the value in being able to spend some more time out in the woods this time of year. It gets you up in the mountains, it gets you out there. You can also do some track scouting for your deer and start on that early for next year. But the main thing is, I think we all know there's getting to be a lot of coyotes around the area, and that tends to be the most popular form of trapping, is dirt hole set trapping for predators like coyotes and bobcats. And this is a little bit of the basic equipment I'm going to show you that people like to use this time of year. And this right here is your basic foothold trap. This is an offset, and if you can see this gap in here, these are made so that when they catch an animal in the trap, it doesn't actually break their bone. You can let something free and it'll run away. So it's not a kill trap, it's not a leg breaker trap, it'll just hold them there until you get there. This is a dupe trap, and this is the most popular type for coyotes and bobcats. And these are what's called dirt hole traps. It would take me a long time to show you how to set a dirt hole trap, so I'm just going to talk about the basic stuff you would need to get into it. When people buy these traps, they're bright and silver in color, and one of the things that's really popular for trappers, and it has been for decades and generations, is dyeing your traps. Back in the old days, they would use bark and leaves from oak trees, and they would put all that stuff in a pot with their traps, and they would boil them down to stain their traps a dark color. These days you can just get something like a logwood trap dye, which is a natural material. It's basically, what they would use, grind down into a powder form. And what you would do with this is you try to get your traps to rust a little bit. I boil my traps down right away and then put them outside and let them get a slight coat of rust. And then I put them in a big stew pot with and you can boil a whole bunch of them at once, and you can use those galvanized steel garbage cans to do a whole pile of them. And you fill it with water, you get it boiling, you put this trap dye in it, and you boil your traps down for about an hour or so, and when they come out, they'll be almost black. So they'll really blend in with the ground, because coyotes are really, really spooky and difficult to trick. So they will see this kind of stuff and run away from it. And like I say, this is a foothold trap. You would use this doing what they call dirt hole sets. And when you do a dirt hole set, you have to dig out part of the ground, and you have to make a really flat level spot so this trap is bedded so that it won't move to one side when the animal steps on it. And then you would stake it to the ground. And the tools you would use to do that, this is a dirt hole tool, and this is basically, you can dig with this end, you can scrape ground with this, you can pound your stakes in the ground. There's a big spike. This is a stake right here. And what you would do is take an S hook, and you would link these two together, and you would actually pound this all the way into the ground, all the way up to here, so that when this thing is in the ground, you pound it all the way in the dirt. When something tries to pull, it kind of turns sideways and anchors itself in the ground so that they can't pull it out. It's so hard to get these out that even a big, strong man would normally have to dig this up out of the ground just to get it out. When you bury this thing under the ground, it is a very solid anchor. And the way it's designed, the offset, is perfect for setting your dirt hole traps. And basically you would use this tool to make your setting. And a lot of people like to take debris and sticks and everything and kind of put it around your trap to guide the animal to it. Because what you're going to do is, once you set your dirt hole, a lot of people will take this end, and once you got your trap set, right behind it, you would dig a big hole that looks like a little critter hole. And then you put a little bit of your scent and lure in there, and there's different types of scent. The most popular is really a gland scent. Predators are attracted to other predators. They're curious, and if they smell a fox or a bobcat or another coyote, in that area, they're going to come in and check it out. So a lot of these scents are really just gland scents from these predators themselves. Then there's also bait, and scents and bait are two different things. The scents are little gland lures that smell like a predator, and the baits are basically rotten meat. You can make your own bait with some old fish parts or old deer parts. The most important thing to keep in mind in West Virginia is you have to bury your bait. You cannot have visible bait out on top of the ground in West Virginia because it also attracts birds, and birds of prey can get caught in your traps. So you really do have to be careful about burying your bait so that you don't accidentally catch a hawk in one of your traps. This time of year, a lot of people will ask, what do I do when I'm digging the dirt and I'm trying to set this trap and it's freezing? The ground is super cold, the dirt is wet, and the next day it's going to freeze, and it's going to freeze up my trap and everything. Well, there's a solution for that. It's called no freeze dirt. And basically we do really good with this stuff in here this time of year, because when you use this dirt to bed your trap set and to cover your trap with, it's not going to freeze. There is no moisture in this dirt whatsoever that can freeze when it gets cold. Now, you can buy this stuff, but you can also make your own. And an easy way to do that is to simply fill up a bucket of dirt way ahead of time, put it in a dry place and store it, and just let it air out. Every couple days come and turn the dirt over until your dirt is completely dry and there's no moisture in that soil. And basically you'll get the same result with that as this. Another popular material people are using to set their dirt traps is peat moss. Because peat moss is really dry, it doesn't freeze. You can set your trap bed, put it on top of the wet frozen ground, and then put your trap down in it, and then cover your trap with the peat moss, and it gives you the same results. It won't freeze up your trap, because if you do cover this with wet dirt and it freezes, your trap won't work right. So that's a really important thing for this time of year. And like I say, you can, any place that sells trapping supplies will sell the no freeze dirt, but you can also do it yourself. You can make your own and make it really cheap if you want to. But basically, I think the best part of trapping is that it gets you out in the woods and gets you up doing something this time of year. The predators like coyotes are, getting very populated in this area, and a lot of people don't like them on their property, eating their livestock and their pets and stuff like that. So trapping's getting more and more popular for that reason alone. I like to do it because it's just fun. It gets me up on the mountain. It keeps me from getting cabin fever. So, the best thing to do if you've never done it before is to come into any store that sells trapping supplies like us, and just pick our brains. Ask us how to set this stuff up. We can direct you as far as you need to go into how to do this trapping. Also, YouTube, as you all probably know, is an excellent resource for trapping information. There are so many great people out there who are putting out their information and knowledge for free for anybody to use and learn, which is an awesome thing. So remember, just because hunting season is over doesn't mean you can't get out in the woods and catch some game.